There is a pocket watch sitting in a museum today, rusted, scorched, stopped forever. At exactly 8:15, but at 8:14, that watch was ticking on a warm wrist. At 8:14, a student was running to catch a tram. A mother was pouring tea. A city of 300,000 people was breathing. They had 60 seconds left to live, and they didn't know it. This is not just the story of a bomb falling from the sky. It is the story of the moment the sun fell to earth, and the silence that followed. How do you survive the end of the world? And more importantly, how do you build a future on a graveyard? To understand the miracle of the rebirth, we must first witness the anatomy of the destruction. From the strategic decisions made in Washington to the chaotic firestorms on the ground, how do you rebuild a city when the very atoms of the air have been poisoned? This is the story of the death and rebirth of Hiroshima before the devastation. We must understand what was lost. In the early months of 1945, while other Japanese cities were being firebombed into oblivion, Hiroshima remained strangely untouched to the eye. It was a bustling military capital. The Imperial Army's headquarters stood tall. The port teemed with soldiers bound for the Pacific Front. Hiroshima was a fortress city, vital to the Japanese war machine. But beneath the khaki uniforms, it was also a city of breathtaking traditional beauty. Dense wooden neighborhoods filled the Nakajima district, narrow streets, tiled roofs, the sounds of merchants and children filling the air. The Ota River Delta, with its 7 channels, flowed calmly through the urban landscape. The water acted as the veins of the city, carrying commerce and life. However, this preservation was an illusion. Hiroshima had been spared by the US Air Force for a dark purpose. It was preserved to be a pristine target, a testing ground, to measure the precise destructive power of a new weapon. The citizens looked at the clear skies with relief, unaware that their safety was merely the calm before a man-made storm. The city stood tall, proud, and terrifyingly vulnerable. The timeline narrows to the morning of the attack. Detailed logs show the sequence of events. At midnight, the B-29 bomber, the Enola Gay, takes off from Tinian Island. Its belly holds Little Boy, a uranium bomb weighing roughly 700 pounds. In Hiroshima, the air raid sirens howl at 7:09 a.m. Citizens rush to shelters. Fear grips the streets. The routine of war takes over. But at 7:31 a.m., the all clear is sounded. The radar showed only a small number of planes, not enough for a massive bombing run. People emerge from the underground. They begin their commute. They open their shops. They start to dismantle houses to create fire breaks, ironically preparing for conventional fire, not atomic annihilation. It is rush hour. Thousands of students are in the open, mobilized to work on the fire breaks. The city is fully exposed, high above. At 3100 feet, the bomb bay doors open. The target is the T-shaped Aioi Bridge. At 8:15 a.m., the bomb is released. It falls for 43 seconds. The ticking clock of history is about to stop. The detonation does not happen on the ground. It happens 600 meters in the air. To maximize the blast radius, first comes the flash, a light thousands of times brighter than the sun. It blinds eyes instantly. It melts roof tiles. It casts those famous, haunting shadows. Silhouettes of people burned permanently into the asphalt. Then, the heat. The temperature at the hypocenter reaches 4,000 degrees Celsius. Iron melts. Granite glows. Human bodies are instantly vaporized. There is no time to scream. There is no time to run. Finally, the shock wave. A wall of air moving faster than the speed of sound. The blast flattens the city in a perfect radial circle. Buildings are crushed downwards. The vacuum created by the blast then sucks the air back in, pulling debris up into the rising mushroom cloud. In seconds, the bustling city is gone, replaced by a swirling column of red and black smoke, rising 60,000 feet into the stratosphere. The hours following the blast are a blur of confusion and agony. Communication lines are cut. Tokyo knows only that Hiroshima has vanished from the radio waves. On the ground, the survivors wake up in hell. The landscape is no longer a city. It is a sea of fire. The wooden houses collapsed by the blast, catch fire from overturning stoves and the intense heat. A massive firestorm consumes what little is left. The ant walkers, survivors moving in a trance of absolute shock, wander through the smoke seeking water. The Otter River, once the source of life, becomes a grave. It is choked with thousands of bodies seeking relief from the heat. There are no doctors, no hospitals. The medical infrastructure was concentrated in the center and was wiped out instantly. The silence is broken only by the roar of the flames. The sun is blocked out by the smoke. It is midnight at noon. This is the lowest point in the city's timeline. A moment where civilization completely collapsed back into primal survival. As the fires die down, a new, silent horror emerges. Days after the bomb, people who seemed uninjured begin to fall ill. Hair loss, bleeding gums, high fevers. Doctors are baffled. They call it Module X or the atomic plague. We now know it as acute radiation sickness. The bomb keeps killing. Long after the explosion, black rain falls on the western districts, sticky, dark, radioactive. It poisons the soil and the water. Rumors spread like wildfire. Nothing will grow here for 75 years. The city is cursed. The psychological depth of the destruction is profound. The stigma of being a Hibakusha, a survivor, begins to take hold. The fear that the genetic lineage of the city was broken. Hiroshima was not just a ruined city, it was a poisoned land. The decision facing the government was stark: abandon the site forever, or attempt the impossible. August 1949, 4 years after the bomb, a pivotal moment in history. The Japanese government passes the Hiroshima Peace Memorial City Construction Law. This was the turning point. The decision was made not just to rebuild, but to reinvent. Then begins the Great Clearing. Military trucks and ox carts work side by side to remove millions of tons of debris. The grid of the city is redrawn. Streets are widened significantly, creating broad boulevards designed to act as fire breaks for a future that hopefully would never come. Architect Kenzo Tange proposes a bold vision: the Peace Memorial Park. Instead of rebuilding the commercial district at the hypocenter, the heart of the city would remain empty, a void dedicated to memory. The Genbaku Dome is preserved. A heated debate rages: tear down the painful reminder, or keep it. The decision to keep it turns the ruin into the eternal anchor of the new Hiroshima, the past and the future, locked in a permanent dialogue. The 1950s and 60s, the narrative tempo accelerates. Hiroshima rides the wave of Japan's economic miracle. Industry returns. Mazda resumes production. Its factories spared by the mountains, the automotive industry becomes the engine of the reconstruction. The skyline begins to rise. Concrete replaces wood. Bridges are rebuilt. Steel replacing the old stone. The population swells, surpassing pre-war levels. The 75-year rumor is proven wrong. Saplings planted in the Peace Park take root. Greenery explodes across the city. It was a reconstruction fueled by grief, channeled into labor. The Peace Museum is constructed. Global attention brings donations and support. Hiroshima transforms from a military fortress into an international city of commerce and culture. The scars are covered by asphalt and glass, but the structure is stronger than ever. We arrive at the present day. The chronological journey concludes with Hiroshima as it stands now, a thriving metropolis of over 1-2 million people. The city is alive. The Mazda Zoom Zoom Stadium roars with excitement. The Hondori Arcade buzzes with commerce. The streets are vibrant, colorful, electric, but stillness remains in the center. The Peace Park stands as a sanctuary. The cenotaph holds the names of over 300 Zhuzhou victims. The inscription reads, "Let all the souls here rest in peace, for we shall not repeat the evil." Paper cranes drape over the children's monument, a symbol known worldwide, originating from this very ground. Hiroshima has accepted a new role. It is the world's conscience, a place where world leaders come to confront the reality of nuclear war. The city is no longer defined by the bomb, but by its response to it. It is a living proof that peace is not just a concept. It is something that must be built. Brick by brick, generation by generation, from the wooden beams of 1945 to the steel towers of the 21st century. Hiroshima's timeline is a jagged scar that healed into a symbol of strength. We have walked through the valley of the shadow of death. We have seen the fire, the silence, and the noise of construction. This city stands as a warning and a promise, a warning of what we are capable of destroying and a promise of what we are capable of rebuilding. The atomic desert did not come to pass. Instead, life found a way. The flowers bloomed, the children laughed again, the city breathed. Hiroshima defied the end of the world, and in doing so, it gave the rest of us a future. If this timeline of resilience inspired you, and you want to uncover more stories that defined our modern world, please subscribe to the channel. Help us keep history alive. See you in the next documentary.